Trickster and I would have been really good friends in high school and done pretty much all of the same activities. That is my understanding. Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Plague 12.3. Yay.
What do you think?
This one was really fun, actually. And I was correct. They got attacked at the end.
Yes.
I should have just, called who was going to attack them. It's just there were so many possibilities. It could easily have been the other villains.
Yeah.
I mean, it was some other villains, but...
A full half of the Slaughterhouse Nine are here.
That's right, because there are only 8 of them. Yeah. So
As
funny.
Gru says at the beginning of the chapter, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, but I did really enjoy this chapter. Loved hanging out with the travelers.
I know.
Coil's minions are all together. I was like, now, Unionize. Sing one of those songs from Newsies.
Right, yeah. Taylor and Sundancer did not, go into a corner and start talking about Dinah, sadly.
Oh, yeah, no.
But,
that would have been great.
yeah, there's a rapport
I thought you were going to say
building.
they did not go into a corner and start making out. That's also sad. But...
Taylor does note that she's very attractive.
Yes, she does. She's very interested in several of the travelers.
Yes. Right, that's even though Ballistic is, not super hot, he's kind of
She's like,
a
I would have dated
good-looking
him.
jock in a sort of decent way. Yeah.
In a world where I did never stop being friends with Emma and he asked me out, I'd have said yes.
Yeah. And Trickster is not attractive.
Unfortunately. Not to Taylor anyway.
Yeah.
He could be attractive to other people.
Yeah.
Okay, but we should get a summary. I have so many thoughts about the travelers, but we should find out what happened
before we
first.
get into it. So we pick up where we left off with the Undlers being voted off the island, arriving back at shore, and Gru is really, really upset about the way Coil treated them. Tattletale and Taylor calm him down, sort of saying well, maybe that was the best he could do. Obviously he didn't want to be quarantined, and he'll probably give us any information that he learns anyway, right? He's all about moles, and now he's the mole. They decide that they're going to stop thinking about how badly that went and just kind of move forward. And Trickster and the other travelers come up to where the Undersiders are. They shake hands. Gru and Trickster are kind of establishing a camaraderie between the groups. We learned that Genesis is going back in a more subtle form to spy on the meeting. And Imp was left there.
Yeah. I love
So
that.
there's redundancy in terms of their moles. And Gru immediately starts looking around as if he could spot her. He lists off all of the contingencies that could lead to her being discovered.
Oh my god, this is such a sidetrack, but Imp is so a parent or guardian's nightmare. Go on.
Yes. Skitter sends some bugs back to see if she can tell if Imp is okay. And at the mention of the bugs, Trickster's like, oh my god, we didn't need to send Genesis if you could just send bugs. And Taylor's like, no, you're overestimating me. I can't really, eavesdrop through my bugs. And Tattletale says, actually, you did that one time, back in Arc 4.
Amazing, just, total tangent in the middle of this chapter.
Yeah. Gru and Tattletale are like, that definitely happened, but we didn't bring it up again, because I don't know, stuff's been going on. You've also been in this story. And Taylor's like, I can't believe that I could have been honing my eavesdropping skill this whole time, and you guys didn't tell me I could do this. And they talk a little bit about how, okay, maybe it's sort of her range in that when she feels trapped, she would get better at it.
Regent mocks her for giving up on trying to improve it.
Yeah, Regent's giving her a real hard time about it. And Taylor's like, I don't know, I did occasionally try before going out in costume and it never got any easier. But I don't know, maybe I can try now. And she thinks sort of willingly pulling down some mental blocks so that she can receive the input, which is as grating and as annoying as she remembers it being from the bugs. It's very unintelligible and overwhelming, but she's going to be trying to interpret this signal now. After that tangent, Trickster's like, hey, Ballistic's HQ is close by. we're going to be waiting for Genesis. You guys are going to want to pick up Imp when she's done. So why don't we have a little strategy session? On the way, they catch each other up on who the potential recruits are. Regent explains that his sister volunteered him. They know about Armsmaster. They know the Travelers say one of ours, our 6th member, Noelle, was someone that Crawler was going after.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Wasn't I just saying sometimes my predictions are wrong? Yes. Really got that one wrong. I mean, it was a decent guess. We'll talk about it.
You thought there were 5 and you predicted 4 instead of 6. That's reasonable. They don't want to fully explain about Noelle, but they're going to introduce them later in the chapter anyway. And they're all like, yeah, Hookwolf was a recruit, someone from Faultline's crew, but Tattletale's power isn't giving her anything to go on there, except she thinks it's probably not Spitfire. And then they're wondering, okay, so who did Jack, Siberian, and Bonesaw nominate? They look around. Nobody volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And Tattletale's like, I don't know. I feel like the people got nominated already. That just seems like how they would work. But, okay, we're here at Ballistics HQ. It's in this flooded parking garage. When they get down to the 3rd floor basement, it appears flooded, but actually only a small portion of the floor is flooded. And if you drop down this pipe, you're in a fully dry kind of secret lair under the parking garage, which is pretty sweet. Everybody gets unmasked. This is where we learn that Ballistic's kind of like a decently good-looking jock. Trickster has super long hair and a hook nose, and he kind of reminds Taylor of a bird of prey. Sundancer has delicate features, a long neck. Yes.
That's not really what Tobias
Trickster
looks like.
smokes. He offers them all cigarettes, but the Undersiders turn him down. And they start their strategy session with a reminder that they will probably not make it if they confront the Slaughterhouse Nine head on. Dinah told them that. So do they have any other options to beat them? Before they get into it too deeply, they start up a Zoom call and get Noelle and Oliver on the line. Trickster explains to Tattletale, hey, I know Coyle hasn't actually told you about Noelle yet, but you're supposed to be helping us. You need to pretend that you are on the path to helping Noelle.
I loved this. It was so terrible.
Tattletale's immediately like, yep, got it, locked in.
She does great.
Yeah, and we see Noelle. She looks like a normal but very ill girl. Taylor thinks she looks kind of like someone who's an addict who's starting to be unable to take care of herself. Noelle's very happy to see Tattletale, asks what her progress has been, and Tattletale says, look, I can't make you any promises, but I'm a genius, Coyle's rich. If anyone can help you, we will. Unfortunately, that's kind of on hold while the Slaughterhouse Nine are here. Trickster's like, yeah, and you know what, Noelle, you've been wanting to be more involved. And we think we could use some advice from our old field commander.
Wild.
So
love that.
Noelle's like, that sounds like a nice distraction. She smiles. And Trickster sets off on this elaborate chess metaphor about the Slaughterhouse Nine, where he's like, Jack is the king. He's not the strongest, but he's the most important. If we take him out, we win. Siberian is the queen, except you can't beat her. Crawler's like a rook, but you also can't beat him. And he goes on. I'm not going to belabor the whole thing. Ballistic is kind of like, yeah, Trickster, good luck with this metaphor. They kind of rehash a bunch of details. They seem to know kind of a lot of the important things that we've learned from the interludes. We learn about kind of what would a Regent versus Cherish matchup be. Taylor's like, maybe I'd be a good one to go against Cherish because we're both long range. Bonesaw doesn't fit the chess metaphor at all because she can sort of break all the rules. If Bonesaw gets her hands on someone, that could be really, really bad. Noelle's like, okay, well, we know that if we're going to go up against them in a direct fight, we will lose. So maybe this is like the desecrated monk scenario. The Travelers are into this. The Undersiders seemingly have no idea what they're talking about. But if your opponents are cheating, what do? You cheat back, or you just sort of don't play on the terms that you were given. So they need to figure out, well, what do the Slaughterhouse Nine want? They're trying to recruit. They're going to terrorize people because they're monsters and that's what they do. Mm-hmm. At the mention of, like, the nature of the Slaughterhouse Nine, Noelle does withdraw a little bit. But she perks up and is like, okay, no, they're hunters. So if they are happy to be predators, what if we make them prey? And then she's like, you were saying chess. I don't think that's the right game. Trickster's like, well, I always preferred Go. And Noelle's like, no, shogi. And the travelers, Taylor and Tattletale, are like, oh my god, and look at Regent. And Regent, Bitch, and Gru have no clue what they're talking about. The deal with shogi is it's a variant of chess where if you capture a piece, you can put it back on the board as your own. So then they start thinking about, could Regent use his power on anyone? And they eliminate a bunch of options. They think Burnscar and Shatterbird could be decent candidates for a Slaughterhouse 9 member that they could capture and control. But before they get further into the planning session, Oliver jumps back onto the Zoom call and says, hey, by the way, Genesis is waking up. That was a long stint, so she'll be groggy, but that means Imp is probably done and needs a ride. So Gru is immediately like, I'm going to go get her back. It's going to be a quick round trip. Genesis should be up and at him at that point. So, like, let's reconvene back here in 20 minutes with Genesis and Imp. Trickster and Noelle are going to have a minute to talk alone without Sundancer and Ballistic. So basically, the Undersiders and those two travelers make their way back up to the top of the parking garage. Sundancer comments on Bitch's puppy. Bitch has been quiet this whole time, hanging out with her puppy, whose name is Bastard.
Yep.
We also learn that Bitch has been bringing him along because he's going to need a lot of training. Because for the first year and a half, you know, he'll be like a dog. He'll need that training. and she's got to win him over. And Taylor says, like a dog, and Tattletale clocks something. But then she clocks something else, which is that 4 of the Slaughterhouse 9 are here in this parking garage.
4 of them so far.
The Siberian, Jack Slash, Bonesaw, and Cherish. And Jack Slash looks around and says, this is not an exit. And the chapter ends.
Yeah, so big trouble. 4 of them. We've seen whole groups go up against one of them.
Yeah.
And it has not gone well.
Yeah. Yeah, so depending on how you look at it, arguably, like, the worst 2, Siberian and Bonesaw, and then the ones that are, like, maybe less of a problem.
I would have said Cherish is worse than
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Cherish faced off against 4 guards and just made them kill themselves instantly.
Yeah, like, and Bonesaw with that, like, we have no sign of hack job. Right, so Bonesaw without hack job.
Right,
you know,
right. Bonesaw is scary sort of down the line.
Play keep away. Don't let her touch you.
Yeah. Don't let her get your body. And yeah. Because I don't know that if she touches you, she's not Amy. She couldn't do something instantaneously like that. But yeah, okay. So really bad situation. They're there with 2 of their potential recruits.
Yeah.
And the people who tried to recruit them are there.
Yeah.
So this might be, you know, the games begin, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Which might actually be good for the survival of our villain heroes, because if it's not, we're here to kill you. We're here to have, you know, Regent and Bitch begin their whatever. I don't really know what the trials consist of.
Right.
I am very pessimistic about Bitch.
Okay.
I mean, she hasn't told them anything. Really bad sign. The Siberian was mentioned in the call with Noelle, and Bitch kind of picks up and cuddles the puppy. You're like, oh no.
I just thought that was so funny. To me, I mean, we get nothing from Bitch.
Yep.
I guess we get that she is very attached to this puppy. Naming it Bastard.
She named it Bastard. She's gone.
Right. Like,
she's decided she's a wolf.
Right.
Bastard is the male equivalent of her name.
Right.
Not in dog terms, but in human insult terms.
Yeah, it is a very, very telling gesture. But I was thinking at the very least, there are multiple beats in the chapter where it's like, yeah, and I mean, I wish we knew who the Siberian recruited. And then there's like a pause. Right. And I was like, I sort of feel like she must be feeling so smug that she knows something that nobody else knows. She has one over
on these people who aren't her real friends.
Yeah. So, like, whether or not she's decided.
She did seem conflicted in her chapter, so I don't know. But it is the game that they said. Was it shogi?
Yeah.
Except that the Slaughterhouse 9 are the ones who did the thing.
Yeah.
They have Bitch, and none of our Undlers know it.
Yeah. Well, Tattletale knows now. That's what I read out of that. She knows something.
Yes. I don't know if she put the whole thing together, but she's going to put it together within the next couple minutes, I bet.
Right. And it's possible that Jack will just say, well, 2 of you are our recruits, and then there will be no mystery to anyone.
You.
Yeah.
It's like the Spider-Man meme, but none of them are Spider-Man.
Yeah, it could be bad. And it's also like Taylor and Brian both seem to have been going easy on Bitch a little bit. Like they're sort of not antagonizing her. Nobody has brought up the dog thing until now, and Gru does it very gently. So there's almost a little bit of a like, Bitch has kind of earned with her prickliness, people don't kind of push and ask questions, and that's made it very easy for her to get away with like some obvious deception, if not betrayal. We'll see.
And it is so funny in this chapter where we're getting all of the Undlers kind of unmasking for each other and like really joining together for this effort and forming new bonds. There's also a traitor in their midst, potentially a defector.
Yeah. It did seem notable that Taylor didn't want to take off her mask, but did decide that it would be awkward.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't really think about it again. And
that's true.
I was reflecting, as far as we know, she's really the only one with a going secret identity.
That's true. Like a real life identity.
In a real way.
Like
and it's just because of Danny, right?
Yes, it is just because of Danny.
That's kind of the only thing.
It doesn't seem like the Travelers have family outside themselves. Like they are a found family.
Right. And certainly not in Brockton Bay.
Definitely not. Yeah, not local. They're very far. They're the Travelers. Can we talk about the Travelers?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, there are 6 of them. Oliver is not ballistic. Okay. Yeah, so last time, Trickster, Sundancer, and Oliver show up, and that's how Dinah thinks of them. And I was like, why is he referred to as Oliver? And I was like, this must be ballistic because we haven't seen anyone else. I was wrong. Occam's razor failed. In fact, there are 6 and not 4. And Genesis is a separate person from Noelle, so we still don't know Noelle's power at all.
Yep.
Genesis seems to be someone who works at very long range, and maybe by, like, when she's sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, the creatures she creates are her dreams.
Yeah.
And so she was dreaming herself in with the group on the island, on the lake. And Oliver, we just have no idea. Does he even have a cape name? Is Oliver his cape name? Yeah. Is he like a little street rat? Is he a
why cat? He's also kept in the base, but he's not...
Right, he doesn't leave.
A prisoner like Noelle.
Right. So I guess 3 of them are there all the time, because Genesis doesn't need to leave to exercise her power. Noelle is in the vault, and Oliver is just also there.
Yeah.
Is he a thinker?
I mean, I think if there were clues, I would point them out. Right? He's like a normal-looking blonde guy.
Right, and he doesn't seem to have a cape name unless Oliver is his cape name.
Right. I guess Dinah thought he was sort of good-looking.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't know.
I was like, maybe she calls him by his first name because she has a crush. No, maybe that's just his only name.
Yeah.
No, it's fascinating. Also, where was Genesis during that attack?
It's a good question.
If she doesn't need to leave the base to exercise her power, why would she not be at the base? I guess it's reasonable that, like, Ballistic just wasn't there. Because they all have their own territories. Like, why were Trickster and Sundancer even there?
Right,
Seems kind of unlikely.
And we know that... Right, I guess Genesis has her own territory.
Okay, so maybe she was there.
We don't know. If her range is long enough, maybe she doesn't need her own, like, base.
Right, she could just live at Coil's base, and it seems like she is at Coil's base right now.
Right. But maybe she was at Ballistics, maybe she was
true.
Here.
Yeah, I don't know. Mysterious.
So fun. And I also love how normal Gru and the Undersiders are about the Travelers sort of having weird secrets.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're just like... Yes, so we have 2 other members you guys have never met before, but we don't really want to talk about it. And Gru's like, that's fine. I just want to talk strategy. like we don't need to get distracted.
Yeah.
And they do seem... I just really enjoy seeing them get along.
I really like Trickster. He seems really reasonable, personable.
Yeah.
Good leader.
Yeah.
I also, I really liked Noelle in this chapter.
Yeah.
She was so smart and capable.
Yeah.
She was their old field commander. I love that. And it's just, such a bummer that someone who was so competent and able to go out there and command in the field is now trapped in a vault.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, like, Trickster has given up hope. Trickster does not think Coil will be able to help. His thing is like, I think Coil hasn't asked you, Tattletale, because he knows that you'll confirm what he's afraid of, or like confirm it to Noelle, which is presumably that there's no way to help. I actually think it's because Coil doesn't want these nine, how many are there? 12 people to be like a block against him. He doesn't want the solidarity. That's why he split them up, I think.
Yeah.
But Trickster thinks it's because Tattletale will say there's no hope.
Yeah.
And I loved Tattletale's performance. She's so good.
Yes.
She was like really threading the needle of like, I'm not going to tell you what can happen. I'm not going to tell you it will work. But like, there are all these reasons to hope, and I'm pursuing all these leads, and it will happen within a timeline, probably longer than what you want, but not longer than you can live with. That's kind of the answer. Like, what a beautiful...
And it's just, she does so well with so little prep time. Right. Like, this is what she excels
doesn't even know what's going on with Noelle, but this is her skill set.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's like Coil's bald-faced lie about Dinah last chapter in terms of its smoothness, right? Like, Tattletale is much more reassuring, it's a little more plausible, right? But just the ability to be, like, completely unflappable. Yeah. And like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of lies and stuff. Great.
What a con artist she is / could be.
Yeah. Yeah. Trickster, right? He says he's cynical, he's pessimistic. I also feel like there's a paternalism towards Noelle in the keeping stuff from her, lying to her. And we've seen before this chapter a sort of like, she's a little unstable. Yeah. You know, like we need to lie to her, not just for her own good, but for everyone's good, right? Yeah. So it's, you know, it's not the worst thing, but there's definitely that dynamic going on. But despite all of that, he does seem to be very genuine and honest and direct with the Undersiders in everything else that he says. So, yeah, I came away from this chapter really liking him. And
I really want, like, before this, Noelle was a problem that I was like, oh, I hope they find a solution for that. And now I'm like, no, Noelle's really cool. I want her to have a solution. I'm like invested at a much deeper level. Yeah. Really looking forward to her interlude whenever that happens.
And it's like she's been built up. She's this, you know, this monster that we couldn't even see. And then she is like, on
this
screen.
Girl is like, yeah, let me plan this with you.
Yeah, she's a girl who looks like she's doing really poorly in like a sweater.
And you can have like a totally normal and intelligent conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that just has made me really root for her.
I also like the Travelers a lot because either they all like games or they know enough about Trickster and his love of games to go along with the shogi metaphor.
Games. Yes.
It was so funny. As soon as Trickster was like, yeah, you know, like, this is my chess metaphor, but like, don't get mad at me because it's not really how chess works. And then he's like, but actually Go is the better game. I was like...
I mean, I did love this thing where I think Noelle's like, no, Go is the one for taking over the city. I'm like, oh, they're going to be good at this.
Trickster and I would have been really good friends in high school and done pretty much all of the same activities. That is my understanding. Just from him going off about games in this chapter.
Yeah, I feel like everything we've seen of the Travelers, they just have been like, yeah, I would hang out with them.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up, because I think we had said something about their ages. What's your vibe on their ages?
I feel like they are older teens.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of where I come down to.
They've been through a lot, but they're not like full adults.
Exactly. I'd say like maybe age 18 on average, 18, 19.
Something like that.
Thereabouts. Yeah, so definitely older, but not necessarily all older than Gru.
Right. Yeah, I definitely, when we first met Trickster, just was like, assumed he was like the same age as like Coil and Kaiser.
Yeah.
And it has been like an adjustment of like, oh, no, he's like half that age.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't really know how old Coil is.
I guess I wouldn't be like shocked if they were like college age, but I still think, you know,
they 20 seem pretty
tops.
Young. Yeah. But yeah, actually, like, they seem, obviously Noelle has like this big challenge, but in terms of personality, I'd say they are overall more likable and easier to hang out with than the Undersiders. Like, they're all more on the Gru and Tattletale side of things than the bitch and Regent side of things.
I think that's absolutely true. And you see a little bit of that, like, when Trickster is doing his speech, you get Ballistic being like, yeah, great metaphor, Trickster. And then when Trickster's like, what if Bonesaw got her hands on Sundancer? That would be so bad. Even compared to like Ballistic or whatever. And then Sundancer like leans over to Ballistic and says something intelligible. I am sure that Marissa's just like, why is he always picking on me? Like, why is it always me getting killed by Bonesaw? Come on.
You know what they are? They are the Animorphs in this story. Ooh. They are a group that has been bonded through like going to hell and back together. And there are 6 of them. And they are a real unit. The Undersiders are not a real unit right now. Imp is new. She hasn't really bonded to the others, although she's very closely tied to Gru. Taylor is still questionably accepted. Bitch has always been a broken stair, and now she's like really potentially defecting.
Yeah.
Like their bonds are much weaker, and the Travelers are like solid.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And it's so fun seeing the Travelers have that dynamic, even in like the few scenes we've seen of them, really underscores how much the Undersiders are intentionally not that. Right? It's a little bit like we got with Weld and Flechette being from sort of like a different, less grimdark superhero teen story, right? I feel like this is a little bit of being like, oh yeah, well we could have the sort of like Animorph style group, but the Undersiders are not that. Like we're telling a different story here.
Okay, so here's an important part of the episode, which definitely no one will cut while editing. The Travelers' correspondence to the different Animorphs characters.
Okay.
Obviously, Trickster is Jake.
Obviously.
And we already talked about Sundancer being the Cassie to his Jake.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in a relationship, or if there's romantic interest, but that's,
Yeah.
And Noelle is clearly Rachel.
Obviously.
Yes, this darkness that lurks, and she's struggling to control it. Genesis is Tobias, the dreamer.
Yeah.
The one who's sort of at a distance, physically, even while participating in the fights. Ballistic is Marco. Yep. With his, Lancer comments here. And I guess that must mean Oliver is Axe, but like a little bit of an enigma, but so is Axe. That's fair.
Delightful. I'm much more interested in Oliver imagining he has Axe's personality than I am based on what we've seen from him so far. That is awesome. All right. We'll see. I mean, hopefully we get to know them more and they don't all get killed next chapter.
Oh my God. Ugh, worrisome. I really enjoyed, it's such a bummer that it seems like this planning that they're doing is probably not going to be able to lead to anything really practical, because here come the Slaughterhouse Nine throwing the board across the room. But it was such a good planning session. I was like, oh yeah, look at these insights. They're like coming up with new angles. It felt like planning a heist.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh yeah, this is like, Wildbow excels at this. I want to see their plan. I want them to carry it out. And I had the thought of like, there's no way the planning session on the island is as intelligent as the one in the like, this is going so well. And then it, for, not exactly contrived reasons, but like in retrospect, I'm like, oh, I see why they had to why the narrative had to interrupt the planning session, because this is going to happen. But yeah, they don't get to finish planning. And then it turns out the Slaughterhouse Nine is already moving against them, and they're sort of, on the back foot.
Yeah.
But it was such a good planning session.
It was. Yeah. Did you have any thoughts about specific ideas or points that were good or not good? Did you appreciate the extended chess metaphor?
I'm not a chess player, but I did appreciate the metaphor. It was fun seeing the different roles they were placed into. And it was a fun idea, Regent taking over one of them, but it did, even while they were talking about it, seem impractical to me, because how do you isolate one from the rest when Cherish can find anyone? Like, it's just a really tricky thing. And any one of them is, this was kind of the problem they were having in the planning, is so formidable that, like, how do you have them sit still for 15 minutes to 3 hours while Regent needs this? Yeah. With none of the other Slaughterhouse Nine suspecting. Right. Yeah. It was questionable, especially because Cherish knows about this power. Like,
they were just scratching the surface of like an overall strategy. They didn't really get to tactics of like, look, how could we lure them? How could we trick them?
But it seems like this is a group, the way they were thinking about it, that given the opportunity, a more extended opportunity than they had, could have come up with a really good plan.
Yes. 100% agree. And I mean...
And it's such a bummer.
Yeah, Hookwolf's just going to be like, okay, and then I face down Jack, and none of you help me, and I'll take him out. And Coil and Beardy are like, what? No, we'll all attack Jack at the same time. And Hookwolf's like, how dare you?
Oh, man. I guess maybe we'll find out what happened on that island. I guess the other half of the Slaughterhouse Nine are attacking that island right now?
Yeah, so who's left? Crawler, Mannequin, Shatterbird, Burnscar.
Yeah. Are any of their recruits on the island? Yeah, Shatterbird's in Hookwolf. Burnscar didn't have a recruit. Mannequins is in the hospital. And who's the other one?
I mean, nominally, Burnscar's recruit is there. If Fault Line's crew is there.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Who was the fourth one that we had?
Crawler. So
Crawler's
Noelle
recruit is not
on the island. And obviously...
he wasn't able to get to her.
Amy and... Theo, question mark? I guess Theo's not playing the game. He kind of had, that's like a whole side deal.
No, he has his own thing. Jack doesn't really have a recruit.
Yeah.
He sort of had only Lee, gave up on him.
Yeah, so Noelle and Amy are not kind of part of this equation if they are splitting their forces like this. But
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very, very unclear what they're going to do since I don't know what this trial looks like. Presumably it's kill all the rest of the recruits. Like, I kind of feel like it is just Hunger Games, like, only one of you can live, so
yeah, better
make it yourself.
Yeah.
What a great foundation for serial killer. Like, I don't know that bitch would want to do that. Like, she just that isn't who she has been as a person. Like, we talked about how she's not a killer. Like, I don't think she's ever killed anyone, actually. And so... that doesn't seem like what she's going to do, but I don't know what she is going to do because she's not really siding with the Undlers either.
Mm-hmm. But you don't think it's going to be an all-out fight to the death, on all sides next chapter? You think it's going to be...
No.
Yeah.
No. I think it might be them telling Regent and Bitch, like, all right, you have to kill all your friends and each other. But it's sort of like, did you ever play the game Assassins, like in college or whatever? Mm-hmm. I feel like it's Assassins. They're giving them their marching orders, like the rules of the game.
Right.
Like, you have to kill all these people.
Right. Yeah, and maybe it's like, it's going to be like, oh, Bitch, you have to kill Hookwolf, and Alec, you have to kill, Labyrinth or whatever, and then, something like that.
Which makes me, maybe it is specific assignments. Because I was wondering, like, is Labyrinth going to be forcibly entered into this? Like, it seems like the kind of crappy thing Burnscar might do. Like, selfishly, like, I wanted to see you. Oops, I nominated you for death, kill or be killed. Like, Colin, it really seemed like it had been longer than a few days.
Yeah.
When he woke up. So, like, I don't know, but, like, maybe Dragon got him new body parts really fast, and, he's going to be, like, assassinated now.
I'm just imagining Alex sneaking into the hospital to, like, pull the plug on Armsmaster on the operating table, and, like, all the monitors come on, and the camera swivel towards him, and he hears Dragon being like, hello there, Regent.
Oh, no.
Should I say Jean-Paul?
Yeah, exactly.
And he just nopes out of there backwards really fast.
Oh, but, like, I don't know the rules. Like, maybe if Armsmaster was already, like, stabbed to what would have been death if Dragon hadn't interceded in this way. Like, maybe he's already, like, taken off.
He's already, right.
Yeah, unclear. I don't know.
If they want entertainment and terror, sicking someone on Colin who's already dead is not going to be that fun to watch.
Right, and Colin is not in a position to participate, so maybe it doesn't, I don't know. It would be fun to do the, like, here are your specific targets.
Mm-hmm.
But do you get a bonus if you kill someone else's target, or do they just get a leg up? I don't know.
If Regent and Bitch have to fight to the death immediately, what do you think happens?
That's interesting. Bitch has her dogs with her. Regent doesn't have control over anyone in that room, and he can only do his, like, little flaily tricks. But I think that most of the other people are going to protect Regent, because if Bitch suddenly starts attacking him with her dogs, they're going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Not let her do that. So maybe we'll get that fight of, Taylor versus Bitch with her big dogs. And who is up there? It's
everybody except for Trickster.
Everybody except for Trickster. Okay, wow. So Sundancer and Ballistic are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think people would protect Regent. Regent isn't going to be able to go on the offensive against Bitch. So it'll just be can they all stop Bitch?
Yeah.
And I think they can.
Yeah. That's true.
Especially with Sundancer and Ballistic there, who are both very intense offensive powers. Like, bitch doesn't really have a chance there. But the Slaughterhouse Nine are there. What are they going to do? Are they allowed to intervene? Are they allowed to be involved at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it going to be bitch and the Siberian versus, like, Cherish and Regent? I don't know. What a mess.
What did you make of Jack? His final statement.
This is not an exit. I mean, it kind of sounded like he was just being clever in a parking garage kind of way. But, I mean, like, obviously he was, but I think it's the idea of, like, you're trapped in it now. You're in the arena. I just reread The Hunger Games. This is all that's in my head.
Have you seen American Psycho?
No.
This is how the novel ends. And I think the movie as well, even though, you know, it's slightly different, but it's like appears on a sign. And American Psycho is, of course, referencing Sartre, No Exit. The sort of hell is other people.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And part of American Psycho is like, he's this, I guess spoilers for American Psycho, but it's not a movie where the plot is super important. But Patrick Bateman goes on a killing spree in the movie, but then it sort of doesn't have any consequences. And you're invited to ask, like, oh, did he imagine all that? Or is it just that the world is so jaded and everybody's so self-involved that, like, even if he killed all those people, no one noticed or cared?
Ooh, okay. That has a lot of resonance with the Slaughterhouse Nine.
Yeah. It is kind of funny to me to invoke No Exit in the sense of, like, hell is other people when you are literally saying, we're blocking the exit.
Yeah,
It's not really what it means, but there is some resonance there.
I was just looking up Dinah's predictions about them. I wanted to see what the wording was of the statements. So, Coyle asks, if I were to send the travelers, how likely would they be to kill Jack Slash? 22.6%, 30.9% chance some of them die. And the Undersiders? 11.9% chance they succeed, 55.4% chance they die if they fight those people. Yeah, so it's not face, it's not meet, it's not encounter those people.
Right.
But I was wondering if what she was picking up on was like the some of them die, or at least one of them dies because there's this sort of bitch regent, like one of them has to kill the other, or, you know. That doesn't really seem to be implied by the text there.
Yeah.
But it is such a fun element of this challenge ahead of them where we've seen them face off against really tough people, really tough situations, and they've survived, they've made it through. And in this, the text is just telling us right off the bat, like, oh, no, this isn't that situation. Like, they're actually really unlikely to succeed. So they're sort of taking, because otherwise we'd be like, well, just go fight them. You'll probably be fine.
Right.
And they're just taking that off the table. Like, no, we can't just fight them head on.
Yeah.
So that's really fun that they have to come up with a roundabout way of doing it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, they're here.
Unfortunately, they're here. Well, there were some other beats earlier in the chapter that I thought it might be worth talking about. I guess one is what's going on with Gru this chapter.
Oh, where he lost Imp?
Yeah, so I think you said it in the summary, right? He's so worried. She's out unsupervised, alone, unprotected. But Taylor notes him fidgeting under the table, and he's constantly like, we need to stay focused. We need to stay on target. And then as soon as Genesis starts waking up, Gru is like standing. Imp needs a ride. And he jokes, I should leave her there as punishment for staying behind, but it's not worth the grief she'll give me. And Tattletale says, softy. It's just so clear to me that in this whole chapter, he is just worried about Aisha. Right.
Yeah,
He's the second he can, he's going to protect her. And even though he's going to complain about it, like that's his number one priority throughout this whole thing. Yeah. Which is very sweet. And I feel like I should say on mic, Brian, I owe you an apology about saying that you were negging Taylor. Well, I think there are some comparisons. There's definitely nowhere in my mind is Brian being intentionally insincere and manipulative. Yeah. To the extent that he's playing a status game, it comes from a place of like insecurity. Right. It's not him trying a strategy to take her down. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't think you were being. I also, but I create a lot of discourse. Oh.
That's fair.
He was also really mad at Coil, which I thought was interesting that Gru is the one who was most angry, and then both Taylor and Tattletale are kind of pacifying and a little bit standing up for Coil in the scene immediately after.
Yeah, I mean, they, both Tattletale and Taylor, know that Coil probably tried a bunch of things in that conversation, and Gru has no way of knowing that. Like, he doesn't know what Coil's power is and how it works. So Tattletale and Taylor are seeing that and like, okay, this was probably the best of the options. And Gru doesn't know that he had options in that way. Right. He just,
No, that, of course, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
I forgot to bring it up last time. I wonder what the fallout will be of Dinah being, quote unquote, found.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, I don't know if the Protectorate would tell her family. It's like, well, we found her. Unfortunately, she's being held captive by this known villain.
Yeah.
No, we can't rescue her from this supervillain because we have a truce to take down these worst supervillains. Yeah, sorry we suck at our jobs.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, they're in a very tough situation. I don't actually blame them for not being able to do anything about this immediately, but would they tell anyone? Will they try to do something about this? Maybe as soon as the Slaughterhouse Nine situation is over?
Right.
This is a pretty bad thing, but also Coil's a hard guy to attack. Do they want to start an all-out fight against someone where they don't really know, they don't know his power, they don't know the extent of his empire, and they think he has a precog on his side? Would the kidnapping of a 12-year-old be egregious enough that oh no, we just have to risk whatever and do this?
Or if you give him time, does he just make a really convincing hostage video? To back up
I mean,
his
he probably
BS.
Would, and Dinah would go along with it.
Dinah would know if she doesn't act convincingly, then he's going to withhold her candy.
Yeah, yes.
Pretty grim.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, that is probably his move, yeah. It's here, I'll offer you this evidence. He does like a performance. He likes presentation.
I really enjoyed Regent as comic relief in this chapter. Just the opening anecdote when Gru is swearing up a storm coming off the boat, and Regent's like, hey bitch, was he like that the whole boat ride back? And she's like, yep.
He's remembering that he's the Lancer.
Yeah, and then...
He knows that has people now.
Yeah.
He canonically has friends, so...
Yeah. And then, when they're talking about the potential for Taylor's power to be used in different ways, when Regent's like, you gave up, as smug as possible and as mean as possible, and Taylor be like... It's so funny because Tattletale's like, oh, well, you stopped trying. And Taylor's like, ugh. Why did you put it like that? I didn't like that phrasing. And then Regent says, you gave up. And Taylor says, no, I just stopped trying. It's so funny. Really, really good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was such a tangent. I forgot about it in our discussion here. That's really fun. I really want her to gain this ability.
Uh-huh.
It would be so helpful for her, as she says, in her territory. She has the amazing... I have to find the line just because it was so amazing. That kind of expansion of my sensory abilities could be a matter of life and death at some point. I could theoretically listen in on most of the people in my territory. Would I want to, though? The invasiveness of that kind of creeped me out, and I had a pretty high creepiness tolerance. I'm glad she knows that she's not calibrating creepiness the way other people would.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Fly necklaces, and I'll always have bugs on you, though. She's like, wait, but listening in all the time might be a bridge too far.
Well, it's also so funny that she is so desperate for more tools at her disposal.
Yes, like Fault Line.
Right, they just Tattletale's like, oh yeah, but you did that one time. And Brian's like, yeah. And she's like, you've been holding out on me about what I can do? It's the most Taylor reaction to anything ever. And I love it so much. Well, I did want to ask though. So they speculate a little bit about Taylor's range extending when she feels like she did during her trigger event when she's trapped. But that this would be kind of a different thing. And then she has mental blocks here, but then she's just sort of able to take them down and kind of live in a state of discomfort, even though she's not able to make much of her, her signals at this point. So what do you make of it? I guess I feel like there's some interesting stuff to think about here with what we learned in the Panacea interlude.
I was just thinking
about
that.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what you make of it.
I assume, so we haven't found any limits for her of how many bugs she can control. But I wonder if there are limits how much information she can process. And I wonder if it's possible that her power, if, we give it the kind of agency that Bonesaw did when she was talking about it in that interlude, her power has to build in safeguards, has to protect her from the harms it could do to her. Mm-hmm. Maybe getting as much information as she would by being able to listen in on every bug in a several block radius would actually be too much. And so her power can't let her do it. But when she was concussed, when she literally had brain damage, her power wasn't protecting her as well as it would. Mm. So she was able to sort of get this extra information. Mm-hmm. Maybe. That's sort of my best interpretation of it at the moment.
Yeah. Another reading I had was just when she's hospitalized and concussed, she's so kind of doped up, she's not able to actively resist the signal. Because what we see her doing here is she's saying, "Oh, I can unclench a little bit." But we've seen characters have to work. Lisa has to put up walls to her power or she gets overwhelmed and gets headaches. And so this feels a little bit similar. And sort of Taylor's maybe I can take the walls down.
Right. So taking the walls down is something that she can decide to do. And presumably she did have those walls down when she was, concussed and doped up or whatever. That makes perfect sense. But she didn't have the walls up all the time before that. She tried extensively for months to use the listening abilities that could potentially have existed with her power. And, she was able to listen, she just couldn't make anything of it. But she could when she was in that doctor's office. So it wasn't just about, not resisting the power. She was actually able to do something that she couldn't even before she had those walls up.
Yeah. And so I think we've seen powers get a little better over time.
Yeah, we saw that Tattletale can do more now than she could a year ago.
Right. But then we just saw Dinah, right? She can use her power to see a specific future, but she gets punished for it. Mm-hmm. So there is kind of a notion of your power is protecting you from using it in a way that it shouldn't be, or so, there's something there. Mm-hmm. And then there was Panacea's thing where she's I don't do brains. And Bonesaw took that as a hard limit. But for Amy, it was more of a just no, this is just a wall that I've put up. Right. So there are a few different analogies, and it's a little unclear to me which, if any, this is for Taylor. And it doesn't go anywhere in the chapter. We just learned that,
she
Taylor's
takes the walls down, but we don't get any follow-up.
She's it sucks to listen to bugs all the time. I don't like this. But then she doesn't complain about it for the rest of the chapter. Right,
true. I mean, it does seem like she was pushing against that limit pretty hard before. It seems like a hard limit of her power, or was...
Yeah.
Before the story started.
Yeah.
You're right that it might have improved over time. One thing we didn't talk about in that Panacea Bonesaw interlude was Bonesaw saying the power kind of works with your brain to make sure that what it can do doesn't destroy you. Mm-hmm. But it's really interesting that it doesn't seem to take any safeguards to protect you against the kind of thing that has happened to Regent with he can't really feel things anymore. Coyle, who's super paranoid because of his power. Amy, who correctly judges that if she were to work on people's brains would stop being a functional human.
Yeah.
It doesn't protect you from those sort of long-term mental health consequences, even if if you make fire, it'll make you fireproof or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's an interesting method of calibrating it.
Yeah.
It's a little short-sighted.
Right. It doesn't really shape itself into something that will be safe for you to use long-term.
Right.
For, the entirety of yourself.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent.
I did want to note a beat of Taylor speaking up in the planning meeting. I feel like she's a little less talkative than she was around just the Undersiders, especially to the later stages of her insinuation. But she speaks up and then feels the pressure of everyone's attention on her, and she's unmasked in this moment. And I was just thinking back to her in the meeting where she doesn't talk, but she says no under her breath. And here she's like a little bit more like, oh, well, maybe I'd be someone who could go after Cherish, trying to be a little bit more involved, but definitely not taking charge of the planning in this scene.
Mm-hmm. I did enjoy the analysis of, like, the Slaughterhouse Nine members who can't be taken off the board.
Yeah.
Like, the Siberian and Crawler are, like, essentially invulnerable.
Yeah. Oh, what's the desecrated monk scenario?
Oh, yeah. I was bummed that wasn't actually one of Bonesaw's creations. I was wrong.
I know.
I mean, it just seems like something they've encountered or like some anecdote they all share. It reminded me of that Star Trek episode where, like, they meet an alien species that only speaks in, like, illusions.
It's a classic, like, the Calvin and Hobbes, like, noodle incident.
I was just going to say, the noodle incident. Yeah, yeah.
Unexplained thing that the characters clearly know, and you kind of understand the vibe, but you don't get the details.
It's like, look, we don't talk about the noodle incident. Sorry.
What do you think Noelle was reacting to when she withdrew for a little bit?
Incidentally, Tattletale and Trickster being in the same chapter really messed me up. Their names look too similar in print. I just read the first letters, okay? I'm not sure, because Taylor said that it was, Tattletale mentioned these guys are monsters, and then Noelle shot down. And Taylor's like, oh, right, she was recruited, so they were seeing her as a monster. But then Noelle suddenly perks up, saying, they want to hunt, they're predators. Like, they want to be predators, we make them prey. She was looking more animated again. Which is, like, really fast to turn around from that. So I do wonder if it was something else. Tattletale's whole thing was, what do they want? Reputation, entertainment. These guys are monsters, and pretty much anyone who watches TV, surfs the web, or reads the paper knows it. I don't know, I do wonder if there was, like, not just she's afraid of being recruited as a monster, but, like, whatever happened to her, I wonder if she ended up hurting people, like, if there was some sort of incident that resulted in her being labeled a monster.
Sort of a bitch-esque
Yeah, kind of.
Very interesting.
Yeah, if whatever they were worried she would do to the people in the vault during the Crawler attack, she actually did, and got written up in the papers, etc.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, this is one where, like, I obviously have thoughts about it, but I felt like I couldn't justify sharing any of my thoughts based on what we've learned so far. But
of course.
Thank you for speculating. I enjoyed that Tattletale isn't omniscient. She does not know that Labyrinth was the target on Fault Line's crew.
True.
She's kind of like, Spitfire is too nice.
Yeah.
So it's not Spitfire, but I've got no idea.
I mean, she was right that there was no one on Fault Line's crew who would be a good recruit for the Slaughterhouse Nine.
No, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. I also liked Regent re-explaining the standoff with Cherish, right? So, like, he says, I'm immune to her, right? Which is, like, not really true. It's just that he doesn't have anything to work with, right?
No, I think it is true, because he said they practice their powers on each other, and he also says, with enough exposure, people become immune to you.
That's right.
So I think he actually has become immune to her effects.
Right. So, so Regent is immune to Cherish, but when it comes to his thralls, right, he says she can paralyze them with the kind of uncontrolled physical reactions I can't cover with my power. Which was like, so it's not necessarily that heavy, strong emotions can break you out of Regent's power. It's that strong emotions can lead to uncontrolled physical reactions, and Regent's power only affects controlled physical reactions.
Right. He can't affect the not subconscious, the involuntary bodily responses.
Exactly.
That's
that was a good reminder for me.
Yeah.
I also just really liked this from Lisa. She sees the Slaughterhouse Nine approaching, and then, this is, Taylor saying this, she clutched at my arm with one hand, and it bitches with the other, stepping back to pull us with her. Bitch pulled her arm from Tattletale's grip, looking angry at the invasion of personal space. But I love that Lisa sees them and immediately goes
grabs
to her two
friends.
Heavy hitters and is like pulling them back into the darkness, being like, come stay back, you guys. It's just a really nice gesture of friendship. It's reminding me when, like, Lisa pushes Taylor out of the way of one of Bakuta's bombs or something. She does have this instinct in her to protect her friends, which I really like to see.
So that was right after Bitch said the thing about, like, yeah, Bastard will seem like a dog for the first year and a half. And like, she's not hiding that he's not a wolf. She's not coming out and being like, he's a wolf. But, like, she's not lying about it.
Yeah, I don't even know if anyone had asked her.
She probably would have said.
She probably would have said.
She's not going to volunteer information in general, which maybe that's all that's going on, that she doesn't volunteer information in general, but she named the dog Bastard. I don't know.
It's so cute, though.
It's so cute, though.
Isn't it nice that there's been a cute puppy just around for the past couple of chapters?
Loves it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the next chapter. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes, even though it's going to be disastrous. It's just going to be so interesting. All those people in one place, all those powers. And Wildbow has some great stuff up his sleeve. I just have so much faith in him after this much of the narrative.
Yeah.
We've read a whole quarter of the book.
I know. And there's tons of good stuff to come.
Ooh, I believe it.
Well, the next chapter starts out, this is not an exit. Kudos for the
literary reference.
But who sang this?
I mean, I feel like Tattletale would be most aware of that. When you said it, like, the first thing I thought of was Gru. So, I don't know. I know that, like, well, I'm sure that Alec has seen the movie.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
It wouldn't be Sundancer, wouldn't be Taylor, wouldn't be Bitch.
I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait until next time to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could be Ballistic, but yeah, we'll see.
Could be any of these characters.
Yeah, next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.